Hi everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled TV podcast here in Melfuzz. I'm Peter, Mario's here,
What's up, guys?
and Connor's here.
Hey,
Alright, let's talk about Man in the High Castle. We talked about episode 1 of this before. For this particular recording, we have watched up to episode 5. And, so we're going to review 4 episodes here today, and the episodes are as follows. Episode 2 is called Sunrise, episode 3 is called The Illustrated Woman, episode 4 is called Revelations, and episode 5 is called The New Normal. I won't burden you all with reading 4 different descriptions from IMDb because we might all just be a little bit depressed by the end of it. A little bit. So, so generally speaking, we were all kind of into the show after the first episode. Not necessarily loving it, had its issues, but we were all sort of seeing promise in the concept, and there was things we liked about it. So, get into episode 2 then. Mario, how are you feeling about episode 2 as a whole?
I don't remember specifically what episode 2 had.
Alright, okay, fair enough. We won't go episode by episode then. Alright, so now we're at the end of episode 5. How do you feel as a whole?
I like parts of it. I mean, there's certain parts that certain things are happening, and not necessarily so much actiony, but just what's happening and the characters involved and the way the story's unfolding in that particular story set makes me really engaged, and I'm really interested for the 15-20 minutes that portion's going on. But there's other segments that just kind of drag on or moving on really slowly, and I just kind of get bored and kind of taken out of it. I think overall it's been uneven. Like, there's some really good stuff in here, and there's some really good moments, but there's also some other moments that are a little bit kind of boring and dull. I think the show's trying a little bit too hard to be kind of meaningful and kind of artsy in like sending a message or at least meaning something, and it's trying too hard to do that instead of just doing it. And so sometimes that kind of adds to it feeling a little slow.
Yeah, I would agree it's uneven. To sort of go into sort of, I watched all these starting last night, so I can remember a little bit more.
I literally watched them back to back just before this,
Yeah.
so they're all kind of blurred for me.
Yeah, well, they're actually not that blurred for me. I actually can kind of distinctly remember, at least, because I thought episode 2 was good. Episode 2 was the one where she meets the guy who makes the origami in the diner.
Episode 2 had my favorite moment yet, and that was it was where she's in the bookshop, and she's talking about having read the Bible, and the song playing is "Strange Fruit" by Billie Holiday. And the reason I think that's really well is it's the most perfect use of foreshadowing, because that whole song is about black people getting lynched, and then it kind of likens the black slavery in that to religion in this world and how they're treated as a minority. And then obviously what happens to the character in the next episode or the one after is the bounty hunter strings him up.
I thought the second episode was pretty good and gave us some nice moments. I had a lot of issues with episode 3. Episode 3 introduced the bounty hunter character, the marshal, and I don't know if it's just because I know the actor from other things, and I know he's English, but he's putting on this really thick southern, tough Texan sort of thing.
Yeah. Even I think his character is uneven in itself, because I buy that he is formidable and threatening, and I can see people being afraid of him. But on a like I've seen him in other things, and he's even played Nazis in other things. And he usually has a British accent and just really, or like an English accent or an European accent. In this, that accent just seems really weird on him. Like, he just doesn't quite fit that role.
He looks like a guy from London. It just does.
Well, at first when I saw him, when he first appeared, I thought he was somebody pretending, like he was a Nazi trying to pretend to be American. Like he was trying to go undercover or something like that. Until then, as the scene went on and as his plot went on, I was like, wait, oh no, that's actually his character. Oh, okay.
Accent aside, I quite liked him though.
But that's what I'm saying. He's actually uneven too, because I like some of the lines and his involvement in the show is interesting, but him as just as an actor just doesn't work. Like, if it was somebody else doing like that, what he's doing,
it kind of felt like someone playing dress up and trying to like act like the tough guy. Because there were certain scenes where he was trying to be intimidating, and he was doing his whole sort of I'm going to ask you questions, and there's like subtext here, and I'm clearly, being threatening, and it just wasn't working for me. It was just coming off as kind of goofy.
Yeah.
Um,
I think a lot of that is down to the accent, though. Because it kind of, with it being over exaggerated, it kind of just comes off as clumsy almost.
Yeah.
I almost wonder why did they bother like, making him do this? Like,
It could have been
obviously,
just as threatening and better without it.
he
Yeah.
would have been way more threatening had he just kept his normal accent. Because if you think of the fact that okay, so the entire sort of that half of the US, or more like 2/3, judging from the map they show in this show, is under Nazi control, and presumably Europe and the UK are also under Nazi control.
Oh, would be safe to assume so.
Yeah, so why can't you just have the English guy be the marshal? Like,
Well, it's because they're trying to play off the whole duster and cowboy hat look. But again, why does it need to be that if you did have a British guy?
yeah,
Like if you found an actor that you really like that's American that can do this as an accent and he looks the part, sure. But
You
if you
could-
clearly pick somebody that doesn't do that, then why does it need to have that long duster and the shotgun and the whole cowboy look?
See, that doesn't bother me. I can buy that because someone kind of, it's the sort of thing that people enjoy to like, they like the look of it, especially over here. It's kind of like one of those things, it's kind of seen as cool. And, you know, I can imagine he goes over to this American, like Nazi America, and he's like, fuck it, I'm going to go all out. But it's only the accent that really bothers me with it. Like, that's the only bit that kind of just go, that's too far.
'Cause I think the actor's actually like he's good in other stuff. I think
Yeah, I think he's great.
fine.
Yeah, yeah.
But the accent isn't working, and I agree with Mario. Like they could have just had him an English accent and had him dressed not like a cowboy, and that would have been fine. I mean, the shotgun's fine. I think the shotgun's fine. The shotgun,
Well, I meant that as well as package.
yeah,
The
is
package deal is like doesn't need to be that way.
he's meant to be the scary guy who comes into the small town in the western and
Yeah.
intimidates everyone. And it just felt really off to me. So episode 3, because so much of episode 3 focuses on him.
Yeah.
I really wasn't feeling it. So
Kind of moved on from it pretty quickly, though. Once he was done, he kind of just
well, he was still
literally drove away, though.
yeah, but it was still quite a good chunk of episode 4 because episode 3 still ends with him like the cliffhanger at the end of 3 is him like they run into the building and he shoots a hole in the door. He
Oh,
walks towards
yeah,
the door,
yeah.
and that's the cliffhanger at the end of the episode. So he's
Ah,
still
okay.
like in half of 4. Admittedly, he's been gone since. I don't know if that'll stick though.
I can't see him. I can't see him returning. He literally came into the town and then rode off. I can't see him coming back. He's fulfilled his role.
I can see him popping up.
We'll see.
I can see him being pissed off at certain things. I can see Grubenführer, whatever you call him. I can see him calling him at some point for reasons.
So that was
Nah.
either a reference to the show or a Volkswagen model that I'm not familiar with.
Well, he's got the whole Nazi army at his command. Why is he going to call in a bounty hunter?
Oh, for him because he doesn't believe Joe, so he calls him for information.
Yeah. He's
Yeah,
he's
maybe.
he's a shitty Boba Fett.
Yeah,
That's
a
why.
bit. It's a bit, yeah.
Because they keep calling him the Rufus Sewell's character, or how do you pronounce his name? The Nazi is it Obergruppenführer? It's like Führer's at the end.
Never tried.
I know, but it's
I just
I'm
imagine
not
like
even going to make an effort.
six U's, couple of E's in there, H.
There's definitely a few umlauts.
Yeah, no, sure.
yeah, umlauts. Oh, and that's interesting. That's a good point. It never even occurred to me that all the German writing in this won't have the double S thing that they do, because you know how after like World War II, they don't like using two S's because of the SS, so they made like a symbol that means double S.
Yeah, you're right.
So
So they can just carry on using two S's like
yeah,
that.
in this, yeah, I just thought of that there.
I hope they paid enough attention to detail to actually, because I haven't paid looked for
Yeah.
that, but I hope there is just two S's and they've just left it, just the small things like that.
Yeah, because it shouldn't have changed. Had they won, because it'd still be
Yeah.
flying that whole Nazi flag and bandwagon. Yeah, so that was a big issue for me. I have to admit, I'm not feeling the what's his name, our old boyfriend that was imprisoned for the second episode. His whole plot line isn't exactly thrilling me either, if I'm honest.
It's again uneven. The part where he gets captured and taken and he's being tortured and it's testing, if he's willing to give it information for Juliana, and now then you bring in his family, his sister and her kids and all that. I thought that was really effective, just because it kind of brings you how horrific the conditions are, and just the fact that his grandfather's Jewish, and he's basically trying to explain like I'm not Jewish. I'm
And
American. It's
I
like,
loved the shot where they took the family and they said, "Oh, we'll go take you to this waiting room," and then
Yeah.
then the mum tries to come out and she's like, "Shit, it's locked," and it just pans out down the hallway, and it's like there's all
Yeah.
these prison rooms basically. I thought that was
Yeah.
really effective.
So that was really effective. But then once you move into like episode was it 4 and 5, where he's finding a gun and he wants to kill the prince and all that, that's when I
Yeah.
was like,
Yeah,
This
actually,
is-
see, my problem with one of those scenes, see when he goes to get the old bullets, because they're not allowed to just buy ammunition, it's
Right.
restricted. The actor playing the shop owner that he gets bullets from, Connor will know this. That's the actor from a series of cinema adverts we used to get for like 10 years for Orange Wednesdays. Basically, before each movie, it'd be like a little joke advert that would remind everyone to turn their phone off. So the joke is that these movie executives that were from the Orange phone company, it's not called Orange anymore, it's called E.
Yeah.
But the joke is they'd have like a celebrity guest come in and play so they'd have Sean Austin from Lord of the Rings come in and pitch his like movie, which would be like I don't know, I think it was some romance thing that he wanted to do, and these guys would ruin it by trying to put phones into the plot. So the joke was, don't let a phone ring your movie, turn it off. But he was the movie exec in all of these commercials for like 10 years. That's what I know him from.
Yeah.
So as soon as he walked out of that shop and that was him standing there, I was like, oh geez, he's going to try and sell my phone, isn't he? Lord of the Ringtone, Return of the Phone Call. That was that Sean Austin one. But yeah, so obviously it's not a fault of the show per se, that's just an out with thing. Yeah, his whole plot to assassinate the Japanese prince was
I didn't quite get why.
there was one line where his friend, the skinny little dude,
DJ
Yeah.
Qualls,
that is like
yeah.
why, and he said something like, I could take out one of them or something like that, and that's just going to be one guy, and he'll be replaced easily, essentially Hydra. But the other, but if I take out one of their leaders, then I really make an impact or something like that. He's just trying to get back at them for killing
Right.
his family, and
You'd
he's
think he'd
thinking,
go after the guy that ordered the family to be executed.
well, you're going after the other
That'd be more
side. They're not even
personal.
going against Germany. You're going against Japan.
Yeah,
What do they have to do?
It
I don't know.
just didn't make sense.
I didn't really understand why they let him go, because they found like that other woman who had like stole her bag and like
I think it was just so that he'd have to live with the fact that they'd killed his family and that there was nothing he could do about it, and it's tough shit, and he's just got to live under this, maybe.
because to me
Well, I think it was that they concluded that Juliet either didn't have it at all, or it was all just a tactic to confuse everybody. Like the woman they found didn't have a real tape; it was counterfeit.
yeah.
And then I think they were thinking this was all information that was fed to us to confuse us, so that this other party could make it. And I guess they realized they couldn't conclude anything, so they just let him go because he didn't have it.
But that's kind of my problem, is that I kind of feel like, given their attitude and the way they just kill people, I would have thought, oh well, we'll just kill him.
Kill him.
He
Yeah.
was in front of the firing squad anyway.
Yeah, because I feel like why would they be like, no, don't do it, we've made a mistake. I didn't feel like that would be in their character or in their like the way they do
Like
things.
I said, it's the only thing is they thought it might be crueler to let him go and have to have him live without his family and knowing that that's the power they have and he can't do shit about it.
Doesn't
Still, just doesn't really
No,
feel
no.
right.
it doesn't feel right.
They
to
probably
me,
just should have
though.
shot him. I agree.
And then, oh yeah, due to a clerical error, we murdered your family.
Yeah, I think it probably would have made more of an impact for the story too. I mean, now you see that's what I thought really worked when he being captured, dying because of that, and then it's just something that Julie comes back to, like, you fucked up royally. You
Yeah.
left on your adventure, and look at all these things that happened, and he's dead now. Like, you can't get that back.
Well, hopefully she still has to deal with the fact that his family's dead because of it.
Yeah, but then even that's really uneven because like his parent, like nobody else seems to know or care very much about what happened. It's just all like, oh well, where have you been, daughter? I haven't seen you in 2 days. And your sister, where is she? And like, I don't know. It doesn't even mean like that. There's because they make a point to show that life's never going to be the same, except hardly anyone notices or cares. So it will almost be the same. It might not be the same for you personally, but to the story, it'll be probably the same.
Yeah, and obviously episode 4, you think he's going to assassinate the prince, and then someone else does it who we don't see, which I'm sure is going to be a mystery going forward for the rest of the season.
So convenient.
It's who
So
to.
convenient. It's after he gets the gun out and everyone sees him with it, and it's like, oh, okay, great.
But even the what they're implying is a stretch. The whole necklace thing.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, like, well, everybody was panicking and scared. Nobody could have accidentally dropped a necklace. How does that imply anything?
Yeah, the fact that the Japanese guys like this is from the, whoever's responsible for this. Yeah.
So in fact, you'd think that the person who did do it would be very careful not to leave a necklace lying around that could link back to them.
Yeah, which makes him look a bit of an idiot.
Well, he is a bit of an idiot, isn't he? We've kind of established that already.
I think also the subplot with the that Japanese guy who's working with the Swedish guy to try and avoid the war between.
And two nations after Hitler dies.
Yeah.
This is basically their premise. It's just convoluted and kind of weird, and because you have no context besides the two of them, like it's not like you're introduced to this plot being by a group of people that are trying to do this. It's just these two random people for some reason with no context doing this, taking all these actions on something that is legitimately a concern, but on a personal level, because you haven't shown anything besides these two random guys. Why do I care?
In terms of what I like, I still like Alexa Davlos. I think she's fine in the lead role. I like everything with the Führer dude, the Nazi.
Yeah, well,
he's
that's
great.
he's doing a really good. Actually, one of my favorite scenes I think was his breakfast at his house.
Oh, I was just about to mention that one. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
great.
That was, and his stuff's all really interesting because I think some of the stuff is really interesting because they're playing with the idea of even within Nazis, it's still you're still you. Like remember the cop that's a Nazi cop, but he ends
Yeah.
up just being a really fucking nice guy. And obviously there they're just showing you that just because you're a Nazi doesn't mean you have to be bad. Like some of them were just regular people.
Even that, he didn't feel like he was doing the wrong. He was saying you should do this for the good of society. Like he was saying you will be better because you can contribute to society, and he
Right.
thought he was doing it for the right reasons. Essentially, he
Yeah.
was making
So, yeah, that's
be
kinda-
better for the world.
I think it's just interesting that they're showing that your personality just makes you you, and it doesn't mean make you evil. Like it's almost kind of showing you like a light set of like, just don't think when you think Nazi, don't think everybody was evil. Like there was some
Yeah.
humanity and regular people in there. So I don't know. I thought that was pretty interesting.
Yeah. No, I think he's definitely doing the best job acting wise on the show. I tend to find his stuff the most interesting plot lines out of the episodes. And I love, I do like the mystery of the man in the high castle, and I hate how much it's avoided almost.
Yeah, let's
Like-
tease the kitchen to keep going.
Because when they go into the woods with the diner owner, I'm like, oh great, we're getting to the stuff I'm really interested in here, and it just kind of, they turned them around and sent them on their way. I was like,
Yeah, well, even when he said we're here, like that Joe guy, like kind of realized that there was no, they're not going further. But for a second, I thought, oh, he's actually him the whole time.
yeah.
For a second, I was like, oh, cool. Now we get to find out he just pretends that this other person exists when he's just that person. But then, of course, that didn't happen.
Hopefully, we'll get a good amount of that still in the last few episodes. I'm sure.
Last
Little-
half, we're only halfway through.
Because ultimately, it feels like the real story is between the main Nazi guy. I don't know his name. And then the man in- Yeah, but then the man in the high castle. It feels like it's those two people really opposed to each other.
Yeah.
They're just using all these chess pieces
yeah.
to move things around.
I will say, even though I feel like I'm sounding negative, I am enjoying watching it. Like for the most part, I'm watching it and feeling I enjoyed watching it, even though some parts are.
Right. Well, I think it's
Worse
because
than others.
it's well done.
Yeah.
Like, and nobody's acting poorly. Like, some people are better than others, and some people we might not like, but it's not because they're not good at acting. Like, even the Marshall guy, we've seen him in other things. Clearly, he's a good actor. It just doesn't quite fit this role. And they're doing a lot of interesting things with the history and showing different things of how the things will work out. Like the thing with the bullets, like he was also looking for American bullets. That's another reason why he had to hit him hidden. He wanted it for a Colt 45. So that's also interesting. I think it's for anybody that enjoys history and just seeing how what ifs essentially. This is pretty interesting to watch.
It's also a little bit convenient that his job happens to be making replicas of Colt 45s.
Yeah.
Because you see him in episode 5 actually making one of the replicas, and I'm like, oh, so that is actually what he makes. Like, generally, it's just like guns that don't work for kids, I guess.
Except he knows how to make one that does work.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say as well, like after last week, we said it was really the first episode was really like exposition-y and world building. I think it kind of paid off for the most part because after that, I feel like we got on with the plot and the characters for the most part, and it hasn't kind of had to really stop and slow down to the extent that the first episode did.
Yeah, I agree with that.
As far as where we're leaving off now at the end of episode 5, Juliana went to try and get a job at the Japanese, I don't know, Japanese headquarters in San Francisco, wherever the building is. And the guy, yeah, you can have a job if you, do some favors for me, on above and beyond. And I thought she was going to. I thought this show was going to get really dark.
I did too.
But she ran
I'm
out.
almost disappointed that it didn't. Like, I feel like if just like taking the extra step and committing to everything could have been really like more interesting than her not doing it.
So in the last 5 minutes, Connor said he's disappointed she didn't prostitute herself, and he's agreeing with the Nazi at the dinner table.
Well,
I just
no,
want to point out there's a list of things happening here.
I'm not saying that it was the right thing for her to do. I'm saying it would have been more interesting to watch.
Oh,
So you want to watch it? Yeah.
Okay, it would have been more interesting to watch the outcome of the situation.
Now
I'm gonna word this carefully now.
What kind of outcome are we
Yeah,
talking about? What- coming out of what?
Is there any way I
Anyway.
can phrase this that doesn't sound awful?
No.
Let's move
That was actually an interesting scene, but I didn't immediately get ruined when he runs into the cop, the whoever the fuck the guy is, the Chinese guy on the Japanese side. I immediately felt really convenient with the whole necklace thing, and I was just like, "Ah, that would have been fine. At least leave it alone. You didn't need to do that.
Actually, Joe, I think between the episode 3 cliffhanger and the episode 5 one, I feel like some of the episodes have really weird cliffhangers at the end, where I feel like I didn't really feel at the end of an episode. It just
Because they're all different lengths as well, so they could have just kind of
I feel
shifted
like
a bit.
I feel like they've just picked points randomly and then have the music act as if it's a cliffhanger, but it's not really. Like that one at the end of episode 3 when it's the marshal, he shoots the hole in the door with a shotgun and comes towards the hole and it goes black and then it goes to the credits. I'm like, that just feels like the middle of a scene. It doesn't feel like big enough to actually be the hook for next week. Not that it really needs one because it's an Amazon show and it's just there, but
Yeah.
Maybe they're just expecting that people will just go on the next one. They're just kind of splitting it up into roughly hour chunks so that people can decide to take breaks if they choose to. I mean, not that that's good practice still. I'm just thinking maybe they're expecting it to be just watched in like big chunks rather than week to week as well.
maybe. That said, the other Amazon original that I've tried was Hand of God, and this is head and shoulders above that. So to go back to Connor trying to phrase things so it didn't sound like he was a complete pervert, what you could have said is you would have enjoyed the dramatic repercussions of such a scene.
Yes. That sounds perfect. That's what I meant.
But that's not what you
Say
said. Now you're a pervert. Okay, so I guess we are going to finish. We're going to watch the rest of the season and talk about it. If this is on YouTube, it'll be up in about another week's time. If it's the audio version, you'll hear it in about 10 seconds or so. So that's been episodes 2 through 5 of The Man in the High Castle. Yeah, I forgot the name of the show there for a second. The Man in the High Castle, episodes 2 through 5. And we'll be back with the second half of the season soon.